Most people are victims because of choice or because of expectations. People expect to be victimized. They think they're not very strong, or they're not very capable, or they don't have very high aspirations. If there's anything that I think people suffer from in this country, it's that not that they fail to achieve so much as that they fail to aspire. They don't have a sense of their own internal capacities and greatness or abilities to handle just about any situation. It has to be something that you do internally yourself. It can provide you guidelines. It's very much like if your car breaks down and you got your repair manual there. You can say, well, why isn't this manual fixing my car? Manuals don't fix cars. They can just give you the information. You either do it to yourself or you don't. A lot of people are very critical of books and self-help books and whether or not they can really be helpful to people and so on. And I know in my own life I've been really influenced by some very significant writing of people who've lived before me. A lot of poets, a lot of the great, even Mark Twain, reading people. Books have really influenced my life. These kinds of books influence people's lives today. I know it from the mail that I get. And step one is to change your expectations around. Like every situation you go into, all right, you got who victimizes people the most in our culture? Family members, your parents telling you that you ought to be the way they want you to be, your children telling you that they expect you to make their lunches for them, they expect you to pick up after them, and so on. Bureaucrats, our government, clerks, people like that, waiters, tipping when you're getting bad service, all of these kinds of things. You just change around your expectations. You say, I am not going to allow this person or this institution to get me. I'm not going to try to change it for the whole world. They've said to their husbands or their children, it's okay, you can push me around. If you want to get angry at me or upset at me, then I'll take that. And I believe you get treated in life the way you teach people to treat you. If you've taught people that you're going to be a dish rag or you're going to be somebody who's going to clean up all the time and you're not going to have any esteem for yourself, then naturally people are going to come along and just do that. I think people respect strength, not weakness. And you stand up to somebody, you say what's really on your mind, and at first people will feign it. They'll fake it. They'll say, oh my God, you've really hurt my feelings. That's a strategy. That's a technique to get you. If I can get you to come over and visit me on Sunday by using guilt, and saying, oh, if you don't visit me, it's okay. I went through 18 hours of child labor, but that's okay. And if you don't come, and I can use all of this stuff, and you'll come, well, I'm going to continue to use that. But if you say, wait a second, I've got a right to decide where I'm going to be on Sunday, and I can't be there this Sunday, and you're firm about that, what happens is after a while, people respect you more. Even on the job, people respect strength. You don't want somebody on the job who's always going to be a yes man, who's always going to if you're trying to run the show and you want to know how things are going and what the reactions are, and you got a lot of yes men around you, which is like what Nixon had around him. Everybody's just going around saying yes, sir, yes. And you find that the show's ratings are going down and down and down because people aren't willing to be honest with you. You want to have a producer or director or staff people who are going to say, look, this is what you're doing that's not working, this is what's effective. And when you suddenly say to them, I love you, it has nothing to do with love, it has to do with my interest in being my own person, and you're using guilt saying, you don't love me, isn't going to work anymore. How many times in your life have you gone out with a man when you were dating, or if you're dating now, have somebody called you up and you don't want to go out with this person, nice guy, everything is, but there's nothing there. And learning how to just say, no, I don't want to go. And he says, well, you're hurting my feelings and I'll probably have to put my head in the oven and, any number of things. You say, all right, I'll go, anything, and this is that's a victim status. You've got to learn not to make commitments for things and not inconsiderate, yes, but selfish, definitely, in the sense of
your own time.
Yeah, it's your life, it's your time, it's the only shot you get at this life, and why should anybody else run it for you? When you use selfish, generally you mean inconsiderate, stepping on other people, not caring about others. I don't believe in that. I don't do that myself. I spend most of my life in the service of other people, but it's because if you love yourself, you can give love away. If you can't give away what you don't have. If you don't, it's like going out and practicing, really standing up for the things, somebody's out there, I have a thing called being quietly effective, John. And it's like, a lot of people misconstrue their goals in life. They pull into a gas station, all right, and they want their windshield washed. The guy is too busy, he doesn't care, he's not interested, he doesn't wash your windshield. This person who wants his windshield washed forgets his goal. It's just to have a windshield washed, that's all. He now says, I'm going to reform that guy. How dare he treat me that way? Who does he think? And this guy's behavior is suddenly controlling them emotionally. And your goal is just to simply say, look, would you mind washing my windshield? You don't have to give a lecture. If the guy says, look, I'm too busy, you say, well, now I'm going to talk to the manager or whatever. You go on to the next step. Or you get out and wash it yourself if necessary. But you don't allow other people's behavior to be the controlling thing of your emotions in your life. Whether that's that clerk there, or whether it's your husband or your children. Very specific line. Confident means standing up for what you believe. Cocky or abusive or conceited means trying to convince other people of how terrific you are. If you run your life on your inner signals, you don't have any need to show anybody else how great you are. If you're confident, you just simply do it.